Hey guys, so I started working on this John Deere 140. I figured out it's a little older than I thought. It's late 60s, early 70s, about probably 69 or 70. So the first thing I did was pull in this plow. I got a wire wheeled off all the rust on the front and primed it. Got a new thing of paint here to do it, but I'm gonna do the back first. I did underneath and along the top here, a little bit over there, but I'm gonna get the rest of this rust taken care of and repaint the whole thing all at once. And I'm gonna do the wheels too. I started working on the brakes here. This side, the only problem was the one of the pads was missing here, so I JB welded it back on. I had an extra one that came with the extra parts, so I JB welded it on there and used brass screws to hold it in. That way when it gets worn down it won't gouge up the rotor, it'll just wear out the brass screws, because I think the original rivets here are brass. There's only two, and they're not quite round enough to hold anything. This side, it's a little bit, it was just missing the pin here, but these hubs are real loose, and they're held on with a taper, so really the taper does most of the holding, but they were both really loose. So I tried to tighten this side, and it pulled it in so far that it binds up on this inner pad, so I gotta take it all apart and see. Maybe I'll switch around the pads and put the thinnest one in there to get it to work better, but or I might have to belt sand it down a little bit. And that's that. And a bunch of these bolts were missing, this one and this one, so the whole thing was only held on by these two, and they were loose, so when I jacked it up the whole rear end would shift around. So I got that all tightened up and started working on getting the steering box out here. There was 3 bolts down here to hold it in there and 2 in the column clamp here. So it's all loose. I put the pullers on to get the steering wheel off. So I gotta still get that arm unattached and figure out how to get it out of here. I think that's gonna be the hard part. But there's I just watched some videos about rebuilding that, so if you want to rebuild yours, then do a search, and it's pretty easy. I'm gonna put a different muffler on here. I got some that I could put in so that I could put the grill back on. It's supposed to route out this hole here, big can muffler or something. And I put the other seat I had on here. It's got this big chunk taken out of it, but it's in better shape than the other one. I just welded some nuts in the base. This is steel, so I welded some nuts in the base in the right place and just bolted it on there. Seems good. I'm gonna probably pull out this whole front end too, because it's wobbly back and forth here, you see. And I don't know about these tie rods yet. They seem pretty loose too. This one's just held on with wire. So I'll see what I got in my stash for those, but yeah. And the back tires, my brother took them to work to take them off, but somebody's sending me some new used ones. I don't know if he watches my video. His name is Josh. He's just a friend. Send me some good used tires for the price of shipping. So thanks, Josh. And I'll get those on there. Because the old tires were dried out, leaking out the sidewall and everything, and new tubes were $25 a piece, so it's not worth putting tubes in it really. Yep, so that's that for now. And I got this little volt gauge put back in there. It was all loose, so I put this clamp on there. It's sort of tight now. And I still gotta sort out all these wires for the lights and everything, but that'll be after I get this rear end sorted out and the plow. Alright, show you more. Alright, I got the new tires on there. They're looking good. Got them all painted up. They're McCreary Turf King 23 by 8.5-12. Alright guys, so I'm getting a little bit done here. I got in between all these other stuff I'm working on for people. Get this bike going back together. Ended up painting the tank and fenders blue, so I'm gonna probably do a little graphic on there, and so that's going well. This tractor, I think I'm gonna have to take the engine out because I can't get the steering box out that way. When I loosened up this drive shaft, one of the bolts broke off in there anyway, so I gotta get that out. I think this is the clutch in there, so I'm gonna look at all that, and because this is the throwout bearing right here. I guess the clutch fork pushes on that and releases this clutch in here a little bit. So I'll look at that and see if it's worn out or whatever. It's pretty easy to get this engine out. It was just a couple of cables over here and a couple cables over here. There's no belt in the front or anything, so just 4 bolts on the bottom. So I'll pull that out, and it'll be easier to clean everything up and stuff anyway. This thing had a blown head gasket. It's like some kind of roofing cutter. I do a lot of repairs for this local roofing company. Bring all kinds of ladder vaders and stuff here to get generators to get fixed. This thing like chops up the roof, I guess, and it makes a ton of dust. So these fins were completely clogged up. The whole head was clogged up with tar, so it overheated and warped the head and blew out the head gasket. So it was like spitting flames out this side, out the exhaust side. So that's how we knew it was blown out. You couldn't really tell from the outside with all the shrouds and stuff on it, but yeah, it was completely clogged up. I'll put in a picture of that right here. So I'm waiting on the head gasket to get that finished up. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more, and then it'll be ready to go back together. And I sanded the head flat here. Used a real smooth piece of sheet metal and sandpaper on it. So I got that pretty flat. It was really warped around mostly warped around where the exhaust comes out on this side. It was pretty curved there. And I did the head a little bit too, or the cylinder. Didn't take much, but just hit it while it was, make sure it was flat. So they're pretty good now. The head gasket should compensate for the rest of it. This thing is another friend of mine. He broke the pull starter on it. It's kind of a pain to get on there, but got that fixed. Routes up through this holder here. And then it had an oil leak in the sender in the bottom of the tank there. And so I managed to get that out without taking the tank out. So I'm waiting on a gasket for that. And then that should be fixed. And then I got these from another neighbor of mine. She bought them for her kids. It should be pretty easy to fix. There's just a lot of little things that are messed up with them. So I'm going to be working on them. And then she gave me this this mini bike. Came with the deal, so she said I could have that. Not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Doesn't have any suspension. I might build a little swing arm for it and put bigger wheels on it. I like when they have those spoked wheels on them. So I might build one like that. I always kind of wanted one like that. Yep. She said this one runs good and it's got a leak. It certainly does. Pissing out the base of the cylinder there. So, guess I gotta tear it apart. Yeah, people have been bringing me stuff constantly, so I couldn't really get much done on the John Deere or the mini bike. But, one piece at a time. Alright guys, guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you later.